What's going on? Welcome back to another episode of Topic of Discussion. I am your host, Miles Berry. Without further introduction, let's get right into it. So today's topic is titled, I shall fear no man but God. Again, the topic for today is I shall fear no man but God. I chose this topic. I was actually talking to my father about this. And I asked him, and this is something to think about as well. Do you think that if the world was able to see heaven and hell, do you feel like it would change their actions? You feel like people would start living differently, people would start watching the steps that they're making? Because everything that we have right now is off of faith and what we believe in. We believe it's a heaven, we believe it's a hell, we believe it's a God, we believe it's a life after this, when our physical body dies here, our spiritual body lives on forever, and we make the right decision, we follow God's path and follow God, we will be spiritually forever living in heaven, right? So the question was, instead of having, you continue to have faith, or even if you don't have faith, let's just put it like this, that the question was, if we actually saw heaven and we actually saw hell, right? And before I even go into more detail, I know people have near-death experiences where they say, oh, okay, well, I saw heaven, or I experienced hell and I did this. But I'm saying, if we physically saw this in our right mind, like we didn't have no near-death experience, nothing along those lines, but we saw heaven and we saw hell, would that change your perspective of life? And if so, why? So just think about that as I continue talking. I want to know why that would change your perspective. Is it now because, all right, I can see this now? Because we kind of dictate how we move in life based off the things that we see. And a lot of people don't believe, or they don't believe in God or have faith because they say, well, I can't see him, right? So therefore we're living off of faith. But now the question again is, if we saw heaven and we saw hell, and I'm not saying we saw inside of heaven, maybe you just saw the gates of heaven and you saw the fire in hell and you saw hell, would that change how you live your life? And I had to think about that for myself, and I'm just thinking, amongst the world, would that change our perspective? And I feel like it would. I feel like it would, because a lot of society and a lot of people in this world believe off the things they can see. So I feel like maybe if they saw heaven and they saw hell, it's like, okay, now this is real, let me change what I'm doing. But we're living off of faith. So I believe heaven is real, I believe hell is real, I believe in God, I believe God, I believe in who God is, right? And I believe there is a God. So therefore you're living your life based off of faith. So I want to use that to transition into I shall fear no man but God. And I feel like a lot of people in the world today don't fear God. And that's why our actions are the way they are. And the way, the way that we move is because we haven't seen heaven, we haven't seen hell, and we haven't seen God. So when it comes to faith, we're either going to choose to believe or we're not going to believe, right? So a lot of people don't fear God and fear the repercussions of their actions. And again, I told you guys before, I was talking to my father, and I'm just telling him, I'm just like, okay, what if, or I'm not even going to say what if, I'm going to say I feel like a lot of people don't fear God. And if they did, I feel like the world would kind of be different. And I say that in the sense of, you will bite your tongue more. You will watch the steps that you're making. Before you make every step, you will actually be looking, all right, am I about to step on the wrong thing? Am I about to step on something that can hurt me? Am I about to step on something that can cost me not going to heaven, that can cost me to not continue my walk with God, that can cost me my life, right? But in the world that we live in, we take our steps. If we hit something and we step on something that hurts, okay, let's bounce back. But I feel like the people in this world that fear God, you look down and you understand what you're stepping over. You look down to understand, where is my foot landing? Okay, I put that foot down. Where is this foot landing? Where is this foot landing? Because you watch the steps that you're making because you fear God. And a lot of us don't fear God, and I feel like that's why we move the way that we do. Because I'm speaking for myself as well. I'm not saying I don't fear God, but I'm saying I do things that are wrong. I don't hold my tongue sometimes. I move in directions that aren't good for my spirit, but it's good for the world, right? So therefore, those actions are made because sometimes I don't fear the repercussions of my actions. But if you fear the repercussions of saying, okay, this is past the world, if I make this wrong step and I step on something that hurts me, it can affect me going to heaven. It can affect where I go. I can go to hell, right? I can lose the relationship that I have with God, right? And I'm saying that in a sense of, I'm trying to break this down the best way that I can. If we fear God, we would, again, fear the consequences that come with that. And we don't, a lot of us, I'm not going to say everybody, a lot of us do not fear the consequences of our actions. We make them, and we might learn from our actions based off the repercussions of the world, but you're not learning based off the repercussions of past this world, as in, okay, if I make this wrong move, this can take me 10 steps back on my walk and me going to heaven and me getting everything everlasting after this life, right? And I'm not saying, okay, well, if you make one mistake, then it's over with. No. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody falls short sometimes. But it's about the process in you falling short and what you do after you get up. And I heard somebody say, it was a pastor, and I love what he said. He said, I'm up or I'm getting up. I'm never down. I'm up or I'm getting up. Basically saying I'm either up or I'm getting up, in the sense of, if I fall down, I'm never staying down. I'm always either getting up or I'm already up. So therefore, I don't sit in the pain. I don't sit in the confusion. I don't sit in anything that I'm going through in my life. I'm either up or I'm getting up. I'm moving on. I'm taking that next step. I'm learning from my mistakes, and I'm getting better in the process of it. I'm up or I'm up or I'm getting up. So again, if we fear God, this is something to think about as well. Do you feel like we would live our life different in that aspect as well if we fear God? Some of us do fear God, and some of us don't in this world. So if we fear God and we fear the choices that we make can hinder where we go after we leave this earth, would you change? Because that's not even like me giving you an example. That's like reality. And I feel like we have to fear God in this world. We have to fear God in this physical world to get to the spiritual world, right? Because everything we do here is temporary. Money is temporary, cars are temporary, everything materialistic is all temporary, and you can't take it with you. And once you're gone from this earth, I don't know if you guys have seen or just understand the aspect of, when we leave this earth, our body is gone. Like, that soul that was in your body is no longer in your body, right? And that goes to either heaven or hell. That's what I believe in. But the physical body is just shut off. And it's almost like an on and off switch. But it's controlled by your soul, and that's what brings the life out of this body, right? If I die right now, my body goes away. But my spiritual part and my spirit comes out. And that's where, depending if I made the right decisions in life and where I was with my faith and how I was on my walk with God, and if I made the right decisions, that depends on where my spirit goes. So I want us to, these are for my believers now, my believers, I want us to fear God, and I want us to start watching the steps that we're making every single day and every step that we take, and understand and think about it. If I take this step right now, is this something that God will want me to do? Is this something that can hinder me going to heaven? Is this something that can hinder my future? Is this something that can hinder my relationship with God? Right? Think about that and stop thinking about, okay, just the physical world. Like, let's go past that, because your mind should be past that. You're living in the physical world, but your mind should be in the spiritual world and how you can get there. We're living in the physical world, but our mind should be in the spiritual world and how we can take the correct steps to get to heaven. So we have to fear God and fear the repercussions of our actions when we are doing wrong or we're not taking the correct steps that can get us there. So those are two things I want us to think about. I want us to think about, if we saw the world, if we live in this world and we were able to see heaven and we were able to see hell out our eyes. We didn't go into heaven, nor did we go into hell, but we were able to see it, physically see it. Would that change how you view your life? And then secondly, I want us to fear God. I shall fear no man but God. Because if you don't fear God, that means you're living your life and you don't fear repercussions of your actions. You feel like you can do no wrong, or even if you do wrong, okay, I'm just going to do better next time, right? And it's a difference between, all right, I'm facing the repercussions of my actions. All right, now let's just go to the next thing, or let me see how I can maybe not get to the consequences of my actions next time. It's a difference between that and saying, okay, I messed up in life. Now let me correct my path to make sure every step I'm taking is of God. And I understand the repercussions of my actions when I don't take the path that God has for me. Because when you're a believer, I feel like when you are a believer of Christ and you're a believer of God and you believe, I feel like when you make mistakes, you are held more accountable for your actions because you know better. When somebody else, like when a kid does wrong, it's like, okay, they're just a kid, right? But when you're an adult, you know better, right? So that's the same thing with God. God's saying, okay, I know your faith, and I know where your heart is, and I know what you're trying to do with your life, and you believe in me. So if you believe in me, when you do wrong, there are repercussions of your actions, because I hold you more accountable, because you are an angel on this earth. I'm giving you the path to get into heaven. I'm giving you the steps. I'm not forcing you to make these steps, but I'm giving you the steps. I'm giving you the path. I'm giving you the direction that you need to go. And you say you believe in me. So I hold you more accountable when you make mistakes, because you say you believe in me, right? And you should fear me as your God. So if I fear God, I am held more accountable for my actions when I do wrong, because I know better. And I understand that when I'm doing wrong, this wasn't of God, but this was of the world. This was of the world. And I can't care about the repercussions of the world. I do, but at the same time, I don't care about them more than I care about the repercussions of God. And it's a difference between the world and God. And God should supersede everything on this earth. Everything. So therefore, when we look at it from that perspective, you're held more accountable when you are a believer of Christ. So therefore, if you're not taking the correct steps in your life, when you are held accountable for your actions, they come with consequences. And it can be taking things away out your life. God can strip you of everything that he gave you, because you said you believe me as your God. You have faith in me as your God. And you say, I trust you, God. And you say, I'm on my walk with you, God, and I want to live for you, God, right? And you say that, but at the same time you say that, you turn this way and do everything the opposite of what you just told God. So God can strip everything away, right? He can, if you want to be of this world, go be of this world. But everything that I gave you came from me. And everything I gave you It's for your walk and your steps to get into heaven. So if you're not going to take these steps in my walk to get you into heaven, I'm going to strip you of everything that I gave you because you want to be of the world. So if you want to be of the world, you be of the world and figure it out on your own. But if you want to be of me and you want a piece of me and you want heaven on earth or a piece of heaven on earth and you want to take the path to get you into heaven, then you have to understand that you need to fear me as your God, and there are repercussions of your actions and you are held accountable for them. Right? You are held accountable for your actions when you say, I believe in you, God. I trust you, and I believe that you are the Son of God. And I believe that my Holy Spirit, that's what God talks to. He speaks to that Holy Spirit inside of you. And I said this before, I feel like everybody has a piece of the Holy Spirit inside of them. Everybody, I don't know, I'm not even going to say a piece. I believe that everybody has the Holy Spirit inside of them. Sometimes it gets lost. Sometimes people stray away from it. That's why we get to the point where people, when it comes to the topic of God, people tend to not want to talk about it, or they tend to want to stray away from it because they understand it's such a touchy topic. But because they can feel it in their soul, they can feel it. They can feel something sparking in their soul when they hear that. Oh, okay, well, I don't know what to believe, or I don't believe. You feel,
oh, sorry, hold on.
You fear that Holy Spirit inside of you. And I want us to start fearing God along our journey. I want us to start looking at life in this world from a different perspective and changing who we are. And we're going to take our walk with God. We need to take our walk 1,000%, 100%. And we can't be two-faced where you're this way towards God, but as soon as you're done talking God, you turn to the world and act like this. You can't be two-faced. You got to choose a side. Are you choosing God and you're going to continue your path and understand that he's going to give you what you need and not what you want, but it's going to turn into what you need along your journey? Or you're going to be like the world and you're going to live the life of the world and you're going to understand whatever comes with the world, that's up to you, and how you deal with it, that's on you. But God can't force you to take that walk with him. God can't force you to take his path. That's up to you. The same way it's up to you to have faith. It's up to you. You're making the decision, but if you're going to make the decision to take his walk, you need to fear him. You need to fear God, and you need to understand you need to change your actions, and you can't keep being one way towards God and being another way towards the world. You can't keep saying this to God, but at the same time, your mouth is like this towards the world. You talk reckless, you're doing reckless, your actions are reckless, you're sinning, you're doing everything up under the sun, but you keep coming to God, I'm going to take your path. You see what I'm saying? You're not trying. It's no effort. It's not like, okay, I'm trying to get better. Okay, I made a mistake again. Okay, I'm learning from it. I'm not going to make that mistake again. I'm going to keep pushing forward. No, you're saying this towards God and you're turning towards the world and doing the complete opposite. So I just want you guys to think about that. I have a headache, so I'm going to get some rest for a little bit. But that was just something on my mind, and I shall fear no man but God. This has been Topic of Discussion. Miles Berry, we out.